Welcome into the Michigan Football Report. It's our post-game live show following a 52-0 absolute annihilation of the Rutgers Scarlet Knight in Ann Arbor. Fourth game of the year. Wolverines improved to 3-1. I am your host, James Yoder. You see the scoreboard here. Never in doubt from the beginning. Michigan got off to a great start. Nico, Shea Patterson hooking up for a touchdown on that first drive of the game, and it was all gravy from there for Jim Harbaugh and his Wolverines. Now, something new in this game. Josh Gattis on the field for the play calls, and this is something that Michigan has not done with him at the university as their offensive coordinator so far. So clearly, it had positive outcome for Michigan against Rutgers in this game for the Michigan offense. And Shea Patterson and everything they were doing. So getting the show started here. We're live on YouTube. We are live on Michigan Wolverines, Michigan Football Report, Facebook, and we are going to be taking your questions. I'm going to give you my instant analysis here, Facebook, YouTube, and the like. 52-0. We've got all the pages shared. We've got all the links shared across the internet. So if you're watching us on Facebook, we've got the Michigan Football Report YouTube. Welcome in. Use the hashtag Michigan, or later in the show, hashtag offense, hashtag defense. We're going to take questions on basically everything that happened today. We've got the full analysis. I've got my instant takeaways and analysis. We've got the Michigan football grades on the entire team and the coaching staff, Don Brown, Josh Gattis, etc. And then we'll get into some questions on the offense and the defense. We have enough questions from you guys. So use hashtag Michigan, hashtag offense, hashtag defense. But start with Michigan now so we can get those questions answered in our first Q&A session. One word reaction to the win over Rutgers. I'm going to do two of them. I'm going to do Skeptical James over here. That's this guy right here. We'll find out next week. Fan James over here saying, we're back. One word. That's one word. We're back. One word. So offense looked great. Shea Patterson, I feel like Josh Gattis, he's DMing me, Josh. You know what that's about. So I think he's watching the show a lot. I said Michigan needed confidence in offense. Start with short passes. Get Shea Patterson 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 completions in a row, little dump-off passes. Get the offense flowing, and what do you know? Shea Patterson at one point is like 11 of 12, ends the first half 12 of 15, 183 yards, and 3 touchdowns. 2 of those coming on the ground, 1 of those coming through the air for the Wolverines in the first half. And Michigan went to the locker room. Forget it was 24-0 at halftime, right? Is that the score? I'm even forgetting at this point. But Shea Patterson was the star of the day. Unfortunately, he didn't get 300 yards passing, and I'm kind of bummed about that because Michigan needs to break that barrier with him. He had it in the middle of the third quarter, had 276 or whatever his stats ended up being for the game, pulled him for Joe Milton. But I know you guys, one-word reaction to Michigan's win over Rutgers in the Big House Saturday. And the slate does not get any easier from here, folks. Next week, a ranked Iowa team comes into the Big House. Then you've got Illinois, and you've got back-to-back games, Penn State and Notre Dame, before you've got 2 of the last 3 of the year. I'm skipping around a little bit, but Michigan State, Indiana, and then Ohio State, 2 of those 3 at home against your biggest 2 rivals. Let's take a look at my takeaways for this game. James Yoder, the undisputed king of Michigan football media, my takeaways from the game. Number 1, I don't know if it was a opponent thing, a practice thing, hey, we lost motivation, but for some reason, Josh Gattis is now on the field, no longer in the booth, and he looked, when they kept going to him on screen, Josh Gattis looked more comfortable being down there. And given his history as a position coach, that's not surprising. I think he can communicate better, get in somebody's face, rah-rah kind of style. He's only, 35, 36 years old. I'm not sure if he's had a birthday since they hired him. But Gattis on the field seemed to pay dividends against Rutgers. I didn't just take away that this is an offense going against a bad team. I actually thought they had a lot better play calling, a lot better confidence, and it looked like everybody was on the same page. And, oh, by the way, the injuries of all these players coming back was nice to see. You see Michigan dominated here in the statistics for the game, 476 for the total yards to 152 for Rutgers, 335 passing to 106, 141 yards rushing, most of that in the second half. Again, Michigan really struggled to get the ball going on the run again, but once the game was out of touch, A lot of yards on the ground. 7 touchdowns for the Wolverines, plus a field goal to get to 52. 1 turnover for each team. Shea Patterson threw an interception trying to go for a touchdown to Nico Collins. When Michigan started way back in their own inside their own 10, they got down the ball. That interception was, I believe, inside the 10-yard line. 1 fumble recovery on the kickoff of the second half. 4 fumble for Rutgers. Michigan recovered it. That's their 1 turnover. So that's takeaway number 1. Takeaway number 2. Mr. Shea Patterson played with confidence. It really kind of is very similar to what we said above there. Josh Gattis in the field. Josh Gattis felt more confident, right? Shea Patterson gets the ball humming across the field. He felt more confident, and he played the entire first half. A lot of speculation that Joe Milton might start. That certainly didn't happen. But you see the results here. We're going to show you Shea Patterson getting out of the gate against Rutgers for the Wolverines. Very, very strong. You just get rid of that long if you want, Alicia. We don't even need that on there for Shea stats. But he was 12 of 15. There you go. Toss those bad boys up there. 17 of 23. Got producer Alicia behind the camera helping us put together a graphically intense and fast-moving show here. 17 of 23 for 276 on the day for Shea. 3 touchdowns for Shea. 4 touchdowns for Shea Patterson. Let's get that changed. He had 1 through the ground, 1 through the air, and then 3 actually on the ground. 3 in the first half for Shea, 1 in the second half. So you take a look at these stats. Here's the one we were looking at here. 12 of 15, 183, 3 touchdowns, 2 on the ground, 1 through the air for Shea Patterson, and then another one on the ground in the second half. Only 5 of 8. You saw Joe Milton take over. They announced he was coming in the end of the third quarter. I can't remember if the drive started in the end of the third or the fourth, but Joe Milton got in the game. I'll take a look at his stats for you right here. I just want to make sure I acknowledge those from Milton. 3 of 4 for 75 yards for Joe Milton in his first significant appearance. I know he was in Wisconsin. Had 1 rushing touchdown for Milton and 1 passing touchdown. He had a little quarterback sneak and then also hit Giles Jackson, a little redshirt freshman quarterback to true freshman wide receiver combo late in the game. So Shea played with confidence. That is my quick takeaway number 2. Make sure you're using hashtag Michigan. I'm going to be taking your questions live on air here momentarily to everybody watching on YouTube, everybody watching here on Facebook Live, Chat Sports. Bringing you the postgame show, Michigan football. Zach Charbonnet is still hurt, but others are healthy. And I'm going to be the first one to admit, I did not think certain guys would be on the field. Zach Charbonnet got on the field, but only, 4 or 5 carries. Again, the same kind of thing. Limited role. I don't know what the point of putting him in a game like this is. 52-0 when you clearly didn't need him to win. Clearly he is hurt. 5 carries, 24 yards. Average 4.8 yards per carry. We're going to make sure we get that one knocked out. 4.8 yards per carry for Zach Charbonnet, just shy of 5. But he was not an impact, and every time he goes out there, he is risking that injured knee. So I just don't understand why Michigan continues to play him for the 2nd straight week after tweaking his already injured knee in practice following the Army game. As we first reported, that was refuted by Michigan, but then, of course, it turned out to be true. But Michael Dwumfor made a return to the game, return to the field for Michigan. A lot of injured players. True Wilson makes a return to the game for the Michigan Wolverines. It might just be a percentage fraction kind of thing, Alicia. We'll figure it out. There you go. Maybe it's 4.8 yards per carry, not 4.4 for Zach Charbonnet. It's quick math, carry the 1, carry the 2. There you go. She's got it, folks. That's why she's the best in the business, Alicia. She can push graphics and do math all at one time. So that's my 3rd takeaway. A couple guys, True Wilson, Michael Dwumfor specifically, I did not think that would play. That did return. Dylan McCaffrey out for the game in the concussion protocol. Donovan Peoples-Jones back returning punts. So really some positive impact on the injury front for the Michigan Wolverines. Josh Ross did not play, starting linebacker, but I don't think he was needed because I thought Cam McGrone was awesome. So let's take a look at number 4, instant reaction takeaway. Use that hashtag Michigan to get your questions in. We're going to do our live Q&A here in just a moment. Cam McGrone, Josh Uche, I think them, and guys, I'm not going to start get crazy. I know Khaleke Hudson still exists. I know Aiden Hutchinson is a player for Michigan. I know Lavert Hill is a Michigan football player. I know Josh Metellus is playing for Michigan. But I think Cam McGrone, Josh Uche, and maybe Dax Hill could be the best 3 players in this defense. They certainly look the most athletic. And the more those guys have been on field, this game and when we've seen him in previous games, the team just looks better on defense. So I like to see what I saw those guys. Khalil Hudson, for basically every single game this year, again leads the team in tackles. Kwity Paye was a force. I thought the defensive line played pretty nice as they've been under fire over the past few weeks. Brad Hawkins in the secondary. Michael Dana really showed up again today. I noticed him for a couple times. One of those guys that you don't have his number memorized because it's only his 4th game. So I'm like, who is that number 4 in there? What defensive lineman? What is going on there? And you look at the roster and like, oh, there he is. Josh Uche. And every time Uche is running and you see him on the screen, you're looking at a guy who is an athlete. That's the best word I can give for Josh Uche. He is an athlete. Daxton Hill, also with 4 tackles, got a ton of playing time today. Also made a huge hit on a punt return. Literally timed it up and destroyed a Rutgers punt returner. So that is the 4th takeaway I've got here in our live post-game reaction show. Got 100 plus of you guys watching, almost 150 here on YouTube. Struggling a little bit. I'm going to have to get us a pinned comment here on Facebook Live. I forgot to do that. I'm going to type that in. So you're watching on Facebook. I am typing this in as we are live. Word reaction to the win. So that is the question I'm asking you guys on the Michigan Wolverines by Chat Sports Facebook page. Pinned that comment on there. So want to know you guys one-word reaction from the win. Keep the questions in. Use hashtag Michigan. I'm going to type these in. I'm just, I'm multifaceted here, Alicia. I don't need to. I don't need one of these community managers to help me out for my live show. 52-0 for the Wolverines. Let's take a look at my number 5, my 5th takeaway from this game before we get going into our Michigan football Q&A. The hurry-up offense shows promise. A few times throughout this game. I mean, early on they had the tempo going, but there were a few times where Michigan ran up to the ball and to start the second half after that fumble. Michigan went out there and just boom, 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 play, got the ball down inside the 1 or 2 yard line. Shea Patterson snuck it in, and that was because Rutgers just wasn't prepared for it. So I thought in the second quarter specifically, they went really fast hurry up and caught Rutgers off guard, had some plays that were ready. Now, I did see a few times where there seemed to be some confusion on the sideline between players, who was supposed to be in, who was supposed to be out. Gattis, and it looked like Gattis and Harbaugh jawed at each other for a while, but other people were saying on Twitter during the game that maybe it was a bad angle and Gattis was yelling at the guy next to Harbaugh, or just past Harbaugh, like a player coming off the field. So I'll keep an eye on that situation. Harbaugh said at halftime, what would you think about Gattis on the sideline? He basically said, really liked it, really liked it. He thought it was good. So that is the word on that. Those are my 5 takeaways from the Michigan 52-0 win over Rutgers here on Saturday. Coming up next, we've got our Michigan football Q&A. Hey there, Michigan football fans. Thanks so much for watching the Michigan Football Report. If you haven't already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We've got Michigan football news, rumors, recruiting information, and inside access to the Michigan football program. You ready for another Michigan football video? I got you hooked up right here. Go Blue.